welcome to another segment of the AWSA Book Club Moment. My name is Linda Goldfarb, and I am just proud to be your host. And I am so excited about the numerous women that we have been bringing to you each and every week, wonderful authors that are associated with AWSA, which is Advanced Writer Speakers Association. And I have another one here with me today, and her name is Margo Starbuck. And she has a great book out, and this is her book. It's called The Girl in the Orange Dress, Searching for a Father Who Does Not Fail. A father who does not fail. I know that there's probably some of you out there right now that you're like, you know what? I've had a father who's failed me, and life has not been easy. Well, we're going to have a moment here with Margo, and she is going to share with us why she's written this book and how it's going to impact your life. So first, I'd like to welcome you. It is so good to have you here.
Thank you, Linda.
So let's look at that. The Girl in the Orange Dress. Now, this is a spiritual memoir. Mm-hmm. Why has it been written?
It is the story of God's faithfulness in my life. And in a nutshell, I was relinquished for adoption when I was an infant. Grew up in a little bit of a bumpy home with alcoholism, violence, divorce. And everybody weathers loss differently. The way I did it was with a happy smile and really protected my heart from getting hurt again. And that worked for me. And yet as I moved into adulthood and my roommate, who was single, became pregnant and didn't relinquish her son, I ended up finding my birth parents. I got married. That shell that had protected my heart started to fail me and crack away. And I was left as an adult with a lot of pain and had to make sense of all that. What I was wondering is, God, are you like this father who left me, this one who drank, this one who didn't want to know me, or are you something different? And so the story tells how I came to know the love that I talked about. I believed it in my head and my heart. The story tells how I got it in my bones.
Oh, I like that. Getting it in your bones. That's kind of permanent. That's stabilizing. So I'm really liking that. Now, we're looking at the book, and the Girl in the Orange Dress. Is this just for individuals that have gone through, maybe they've been adopted, or maybe their parents have divorced? Is this just for them, or is it for others?
That's a great question. A lot of times when people hear my story from beginning to end, they take a deep breath and they say, sounds like a soap opera. Or for a long time they said, you should write a book. And the fact is, the more that I listen to other people's stories, I realize that we're all figuring out what it means to live in the wake of different losses. It might be a big one, losing a parent in childhood to death. It could be a little one, losing a parent to workaholism. But I think when we experience those losses, especially from our caregivers, what we learn in our bones is that we're not really worthy of love. And so I'm finding that the story is resonating with a lot of readers who, of course, don't have the same particular experience as I do, but they know what it is to feel unworthy of love.
And you said that you searched for your birth parents. What led you to that? Because I know I'm not a child of adoption, so I don't know what stirs inside of you. But I guess there had to be a stirring that just became so great. And not everyone decides to search for their birth parents. What prompted you in that?
I'll tell you, when I was living with that shell, protecting me from hurt, nothing stirred. I just didn't go there. And then when I was a senior in college, my roommate, who was single, became pregnant. And when she decided to keep her son, that was the first kind of crack in the armor. And then when I lived with him and held this sweet baby boy, lots more cracks. And actually, it was his birth that really prompted me to take that step. And you know what? I didn't search because I was afraid of being rejected again. I didn't want to do that, but there was a registry I'd read about for years in Dear Abby where if both parties register, they make a match, and that's what happened. A few months after my roommate's baby was born, I registered thinking it couldn't hurt, not expecting anything to come of it, and within a few months they had matched me up with my birth mother, who had registered just 2 years earlier.
Oh, well, that's a blessing.
That she wanted to find me.
That she wanted to find you, and the timing. That it tells us again of God's perfect timing. God's perfect timing. And I'm thanking you so much for the visual that you're giving right now with your hands, with that holding that encapsulation of the hurt in our own little place. As long as I'm solid rock in that own little place, and I'm okay. But just the cracking of it had to be painful as well. I know that there's a lot of individuals that are out there that are finding that they want to deal with a lot of their childhood issues. And so it may not necessarily be in searching for that birth parent, but they have that longing and that desire. Have you found, and in the writing of your book and sharing with us, is this something that's necessary for us as adults to carry on, or what is your feeling?
That's a great question. For a long time, when I was hurting so much and was pouring time and money and energy into, everything. I was like a healing junkie. Therapist, healing prayer conferences, different churches, and each time believing, God, you could use this and this and this. But after such a long road, I began wondering if it was even worth it. And so I started to reason, when there's war and poverty and injustice, is it really right for me to be, putting all this money and time and energy into myself? And then graciously I realized that was my economy, not God's economy. God's not like, kind of doling it out and preserving it. There was nothing, there was no inconsistency for God in loving a world in need and loving a Margo in need. And that kind of freed me up to realize that I was worth it, and that God had enough love for the world and for me.
And we do tend to do that, don't we? We absolutely will hold back or feel guilty about what we're trying to accomplish in our life, but it's something that definitely was needed for you, and you have definitely reaped the benefits of that as well. But your journey, where has your journey led you? Where is it taking you? Through some rough stuff? I'm thinking so. She may be smiling right now, and she's got this brightness here, but I'm thinking and I'm feeling, and I know that we have viewers that are out there right now going, man, I've been through tough stuff, so I'm thinking you have.
And after a lot of years of hurting, I finally raised my fist to God. And I would have told, in a heartbeat, I would have told a friend, like, God can take it, you can be angry at God, but I was afraid to go there. When I finally did raise my fist at God and ask God, are you like all these other fathers? What's the difference? I kind of I pictured Jesus on the cross, and the sense that I got was emptiness, kind of a holy emptiness. And what I realized is this series of parents who had made choices that were for themselves. And I don't judge them. I'm a parent now, and I understand, we're human. We make choices that are for ourselves. And all of a sudden, there was one who had chosen at his own expense to be for me. And I've been asking God, what's the difference between you and these other caregivers? And I saw it. It's not that God sent his son. He chose for himself to give his life out of love for me. And when I got it, that's when it got down into my marrow and my DNA. I knew that I was worthy, not because of anything of me, but by the way that I had been loved by God sacrificially, is when I finally understood that I was worth loving because of who God is.
Oh, and that's incredible. Finding the searching for a father who does not fail, and you found that father. And I'm going to ask you, if you would, I want you to take a minute, and I want you to look into the camera, and I want you to speak to our viewers that are out there. Give them a message from your heart of what you want them to know right now. And I think that you just need to do this right now.
Thank you. I guess I'd want to say that if you're on this journey toward healing and toward wholeness, which so many of us are, that God sees you, God hears you, God knows you, and God cares. I found myself looking for that in so many human faces, and then that's the person that I encountered. And if you're wondering if you're worth it, you are worth it. And in fact, it's God's business. It's what God's about. And there's this consistency between God healing you and setting you free to participate in his kingdom that's going to bless others as well.
Thank you.